Hey, welcome back to the Greg and Tim show. This is Greg and my furry friend Kingston. Say hi, Kingston. Tim's away. So today it's just me and Kingston. This is gonna be horrible. Should I call in a special guest? I think I'm gonna call in a special guest. Just a second. We're gonna scribble that out on the wall and we'll write down the special guest name.
Get your earballs ready. Welcome to the Greg and Lorraine Show podcast. This one is going to be interesting. Now here are your hosts, Greg and Lorraine.
Hey, and now you know who it is. The special guest is Lorraine.
Whoop whoop.
Welcome to the Greg and Lorraine show
That's
today.
right. I've taken over. Move over, Tim.
Well, he's not here.
Well, move over, Tim.
He can't move over. He's
You're on,
He's
Tim.
not here.
We'll see how much people really actually enjoy listening to me. They'll probably ask for Tim after this episode's done. Maybe not. Maybe we'll surprise everyone. Everyone will be like, oh, Greg, Lorraine, you should have your own podcast. But probably not. So.
And that means that I would have to kick Tim off the podcast.
Or he
because
could be
I
like
don't
a
have
third.
I don't have time to do two podcasts.
He could be the third wheel.
We can call the podcast the third wheel.
Right. But what are we talking about today?
We are going to talk about a couple different topics. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Today we are going to talk about one, Lorraine, because this is her first ever appearance on the show in 74 episodes. This is the first time you've made an appearance.
I can't believe you haven't actually had me on earlier. This is unbelievable.
Well, we wanted to have important guests on earlier,
I'll get
so
over it.
She usually would sit behind that camera there, but today she's sitting in front of it.
Yeah.
She's actually the more professional person. She actually went to school for this, whereas I did not. Lorraine, we're going to start this question off very easily.
You mean this interview off very easily?
And the interview.
Or this podcast? Okay,
the podcast. We're going to start this podcast off.
Okay.
Very easily. I got a question for you. Who is Lorraine Stewart?
Ugh. I don't know if I like that question ever.
Well,
you know what? Since it's your show,
I'm in charge. This is the one place in my house where I'm in charge.
That might actually be true. I do always ask you for your opinion, and you never want to give it because you say, well, what does it really matter? You're going to go with whatever you decide.
That's correct.
But I still want to know that you have an opinion, even though I might say you're wrong, or that maybe I'll say you're right. Stranger things have happened.
I wonder if anybody out there has ever thought that I haven't had an opinion.
Well, yes. No, you have an opinion on this show. But when
in general,
say,
even in life.
What do you think about this color light or this color light? You're like, you know what? Just pick whichever one you want. And I'm like, thank you. I will pick whichever one I want. But I still want to know what you think.
Yeah. I think sometimes it gets a little bit difficult to tell you what I think when you just go with whatever you think.
Yes, that's true.
So it doesn't make a difference if I give my opinion.
This is probably something we should save for later because we're going to talk about...
But I asked you a question already, and you haven't even answered it yet. You've already skipped over the question.
Mainly because I just don't like the question. Okay, who am I? Well, first and foremost, I'm your wife.
That is right.
I am a mother. I'm
going to fix your microphone for you. I know you've done this before, but...
It's literally poking me in the chest.
No, it's not.
And pulling my hair.
Every now and again, I just want it to be the right.
Oh my God. Like it's in my chest.
You just want it to be in your chin. Well, maybe sit up and don't slouch.
Well, it's the chairs.
It's
maybe
the pillow. You got a pillow behind you.
Here, hang on.
Hang on.
These couches are so brutal. Story about the couches.
We asked.
I bought these when I was 18 years old, and they are leather couches, and it was my first debt. This first thing I went into debt for was these couches. So I'm glad to see that we're putting them to good use.
We have one more out in the living room that we utilize all the time, too.
I'm going to open a drink. Which one should I open? I brought protein because I need protein. I know this is not the greatest drink for you because it's got a lot of stuff in it, but it says 30 grams of protein, so we're going to go with it. And also premium protein if you want to sponsor the podcast. I hear Greg and Tim are looking for a sponsor. And also
spodcast.
a sponsor, yeah. And also Cove kombucha, literally the best drink. So, and you brought me water. So
And-
I've got a variety here. But
Well, I didn't know that you were going to bring your own drinks.
well, you know,
Most guests just
live
accept
here.
what we bring them.
I'm going to start with the protein. Anyway, okay, so who am
I've got
I?
my water.
I am your wife. I am a mother. I currently am a student. I study at the University of Manitoba, studying human resources.
Yep.
I am a woman of faith. I love God. And I love the journey of having a relationship with God and learning about yourself and about God and what he can bring to your life. I
Have the best husband in the world.
I do.
Okay. I have an opinion on that.
Finally. I don't know what else there is about me. I don't think I'm that interesting. So when you said, "Hey, Lorraine, do you want to be on the podcast?" I'm like, "Really? What do you want to talk to me about?"
And I wanted you to be on the podcast when Tim wasn't here because I didn't want to throw you into the fire.
Oh, I feel like I'm in the fire.
Well, imagine if Tim was here.
Oh yeah, gosh, it'd be like 21 questions.
Yeah.
He'd be asking all the questions in one sentence. He'd be like, A, this question, B, this question, C, and I'd be like, hold the phone. I forgot what your first question was. I always tell Tim, stop asking so many questions in
We're
one.
not here to critique
breath.
Tim. We're here to talk about
Sorry.
you. So
you said I went to school. I was a journalist for
Yes.
15 years. I was a news reporter, a crime reporter in Winnipeg for 15 years.
yeah,
I chased ambulances, so to speak. I was often, the lead story every night
on Global News.
on Global
Can we
News.
say that?
Yeah, I'm sure if you Google my name, I'm still out there somewhere. It's interesting because I quit 6 years ago to be a stay-at-home mom with my kids, which to this day I'm still very grateful for. And I was only able to do that because of you. But
Because of my flourishing podcast career.
yes. No, it was because I thought I went into this career as a journalist and thought, yeah, this is my life. This is what I'm going to just do forever. I'm never going to stop doing it. And then I had one baby and then I had another baby. And I was like, my heart had changed, chasing ambulances and knocking on doors of gang members and talking to parents who had
With
just
your
lost
hands.
loved ones. I talk with my hands a lot. Doing those kind of things and covering the stories I was covering just didn't matter anymore. None of it mattered. I wasn't bringing joy to anybody's life. And it used to be about the chase for me. And then it became I'm not improving anybody's life with the stories that I'm doing. But I loved it. But yeah,
So let me
heart
interrupt
changed.
you by asking a question like Tim here. If I interrupt you and put my hand in front of you like this,
Your
does-
hands in my
does
shot.
it feel like I'm trying to hold your hand?
No, I
Okay.
just.
But
but if you want to hold my hand here, you want to hold my hand.
No, let me ask a question. let me ask a question. Sorry, Tim.
Okay, we get it.
We can't bug Tim all the time.
Okay,
He's
but
out on a trip right now. He's literally living our best trip that we did.
So 2 years ago, Greg and I and the kids obviously drove down to Texas. And if you don't know where we live in Manitoba, Canada, Winnipeg specifically.
Yep.
You call it Winterpeg. We drove down to Texas,
today.
San Antonio. We actually have friends in San Antonio. Long story short, Greg met these fine people in Vegas at a pool and made friends with them and was like, Greg or Lorraine, we need to be friends with these
That's
people.
where you make friends with everybody, right?
And I was like, okay, I've never met these people. And then they were sending us Christmas cards and they sent us a big package with Bucky stuff. And we were like, oh my goodness, Bucky's. If you want to watch that video, it's right here. We're here.
Yeah, it's above your head. You're right.
Okay, somewhere here. But, and then they were just like, hey, you gotta come visit, you gotta come visit. So we're like, okay, let's go visit. So we got in the car and we drove down to Texas, obviously stopping along the way. But I would say that was our best vacation ever. And we did all the things. And Tim and Tammy, Tim's wife, Tammy, just went down to Texas on a cruise, which is where they are right now, which is why I'm here. And they are literally doing everything we did, which is like
They're
we're
doing some more things
reliving.
too.
I feel like I'm reliving the trip we did through them because they stopped at the same restaurant. They stopped at the Alamos. They stopped at a million Bucky's. They stopped at
The Riverwalk. They
the
did
Riverwalk in San Antonio.
the
They went to
Stockyards in Dallas.
all the places.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we love Texas.
The 6'4" Museum in Dallas.
We'll have to get down there again.
Yep.
But we've got other places to see first. But anyway, Greg. Who is Greg?
No, I asked that. I already answered that in
Oh.
previous podcasts. But my second question for you is, tell us something that we wouldn't know about you. And even people that do know you, something that people that know you wouldn't know about you.
Oh my gosh. Well, quite honestly, I would say that a lot of people that know me don't know that I'm studying right now at the university. I would say a lot of people don't know that I'm almost working full time and almost going to school full time.
And you're taking the kids to school and ringette and hockey.
Yeah, I manage.
You might ask, what does Greg do? But don't ask that. Okay, keep going.
Greg brings the money in. No, I'm managing Cruz's hockey team. I'm the parent liaison for Eden's ringette team.
So I
I got a lot of balls
something we don't know about you, not all of them. You can save some for next time.
I don't think anybody knows, like your listeners.
Anything about you?
I don't know if they know anything about me.
That's why we only give them one.
Really easy.
That's why we only give them one thing.
Okay, well, I think I said all the things.
Okay, so we'll dive into a couple of the things in a little bit. So
okay.
I don't want to go too crazy right off the bat. First things first, we got to ask, what is your opinion on the sports?
I love sports.
You do?
I think when we met, I said to you, if you don't like football, this isn't going to work.
Yeah.
Because I am a massive Blue Bomber fan. Winnipeg Blue Bombers. It's a CFL team. Don't really care for the NFL. Sorry. But I had season tickets with my cousin, and you came into my life, and I said, nope. We're not going to sit together. I'm still sitting with my cousin because that was like
I had to sit by myself.
Plan. So you had to go get season tickets by yourself. But like, I wasn't going to ditch her just because you came into my life. Like, it was a commitment I made with her to have season tickets with her.
And not to throw your cousin under the bus, but what happened when she started dating someone?
Well, then you took her ticket. So it worked out.
It
worked out.
That's okay. I don't want to throw her under the bus.
Everything's fine.
It's all fine.
I don't know why my voice is so high and squeaky, but I'm fine.
You're fine.
If you know that reference, put it in the chat. If you know what I'm talking about, put it in the chat. Also, like, subscribe, share, all the things, right?
Comment.
Don't forget to comment.
Yeah.
Okay, we should talk about the things we were going to talk about.
You had a list of things you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, I thought since you and I were on this, we should talk about like the things that we are living through, i.e. marriage and parenting. And some of the things that like society and culture doesn't talk about in marriage and parenting.
So you want this podcast to go like relational deep.
Well, no.
Normally me and Tim,
we can go deep if you want. We
go back and forth. We banter.
No, that's what we're going to do.
Tim tells a joke. I don't laugh. You tell a joke.
Tim's actually pretty funny. I don't know. Tim,
I know, but
you still tell the dad jokes and Tim tells the funny jokes.
But wait a minute.
Help. Just kidding.
You're going to need help after this show's done. Honestly, though, like, yes, we're going to get into a couple of those things, but I want to do a few of the random things that me and Tim normally do during the podcast. Sure. And I just want to make sure that you understand that this isn't just me and you chatting. We're getting to know who you are as a person because nobody really knows my better half, and it's a much better half. Trust me. That's the one thing that I tell everybody when they meet you. I'm the lucky one.
Do you feel like you married up or married down?
Way up. And here's the thing. What's that saying? When you find something that's too good, marry her.
It probably is.
Yeah, marry her.
Put a ring on it.
Yeah. So I remember the first time I met you, Probably remember what you were wearing and
You
everything
do,
like
which
that.
totally kind of creeps me out because I don't even know what I wore yesterday. But when did we meet? 2009. You
2009.
remember what I wore when we first met? And I'm like,
So we went on our first date to Sukhothai.
yeah, it's a
And
good
I remember
place.
that. I remember the table we sat at. I remember you telling me how to eat sticky rice. And if you haven't
So
eaten sticky rice before,
you
go to
gotta
Sukhothai in
roll
Winnipeg. You
it,
got to roll it up.
pat
No, you
it,
don't have to pat it, do you?
mark it with a no. Well, I always like flatten it and
And then you
then
dip
dip
it
it,
into the
and then you
sauce.
eat it like a cookie.
You do. I eat it like
You
a
were so
meatball.
weirded out because it was our first date, and you were like, "Ooh, that's not
We're going to
how
touch our
you're not
food.
supposed to. That looks messy, and I don't want to make it look like I'm a
You have to
slob
remember,
and
I wasn't
messy." And
cultured back then.
I
Now
know
I'm
you're
much,
from Thompson, for goodness
now I'm much
sake.
more cultured. I am more sophisticated.
Yeah, you know what? I wasn't
I
going
have
to
this
like.
je ne sais quoi about me now.
Oh, did you hear my stomach? I'm not even hungry, but you know what? I had McDonald's. Oh my gosh, I feel like McDonald's should not sponsor the podcast because,
Unless I have lots of money.
well, they do, Avi, but it's just so bad for you. But the kids wanted to go to McDonald's because we were starving, and I had for the first time ever a quarter pounder BLT. I've never
Mm,
had one. But we've even been to McDonald's in so long, and the kids were even like, "Man, it's been so long, Mom." And they wanted chicken nuggets. You know that chicken nuggets are $1 a piece? Like, when on earth were chicken nuggets that are like that big $1 a piece?
yeah.
I don't understand. Like,
I don't pay full price at
well, there
restaurants.
were no offers on the app.
Yeah, that's why I wouldn't have gone there.
I know. Wendy's had way better offers. Anywho, let's talk about stuff that people care about.
But like I said, we went to Sukhothai on our first date. Then we did a thing called Purple City.
Okay, so I was talking to the
Actually,
girls.
we went to Baked Expectations first.
Right.
And then we did Purple City down
Baked
at
Expectations is a wonderful dessert place in the city. Yeah, their desserts are fantastic. But anyway, yes, so I planned our first date because you were from Thompson and you were not cultured in the things of Winnipeg. So, yes.
I grew up down here.
I know, but you grew up. How old were you when you moved away?
26, 27.
Yeah, okay. So, how old were you when we met?
I was 29 and you would have been 26.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I'd lived in the city longer
anywho.
than you had, even though I was
You
living
totally
up in
had. Well,
Thompson.
and I grew up in the country,
I just
right?
didn't go to these kinds of places.
Well, I grew up in the country and I was sheltered. I lived a very sheltered life.
Yeah, you had no TV.
Well, yeah, up until I was like 16, we got a TV. So it's funny enough that like I wanted to be on TV.
But you
But
had no TV.
you know why I wanted to be on TV though? I had an English teacher who was such a funny guy. Anybody that goes to Shevchenko School in Vida will know exactly who I'm talking about, Mr. Klemko. And he would make up nicknames for everybody. My name was Orlane, like Lorraine, but Orlane. Anyway, I guess we were talking and I had said, I want to be a news reporter. And he's like, you know what, Orlane, you're never going to make it on the news. And I was just like, whoa, what? Like, I couldn't believe that. Like, my teacher was like, nah, you're not going to do it. So that was grade 9. And so I told myself, I'm going to prove him wrong and I'm going to be on the news. And so there I was on the news. And
you know what, Lorraine?
I haven't talked to him since about, hey.
Maybe he's watching the podcast.
I know, right? What if he's a fan of the podcast? He's like, wait a second, I got a shout out. But no, yeah, I did that to prove him wrong. But it's ironic that I grew up without a TV, but my majority of my career was on TV. But what else? What did you say? Did I answer your
No, we talked about
question?
Purple City briefly.
Oh yeah. So on our date, we did Purple City, and if anybody from Winnipeg is listening and knows, you're probably 40. I was talking to the girls at work today about Purple City, and no one knew what I was talking about except one girl, and she's the same age as me, Jenny. Shout out, and she's like, "Oh my goodness, Purple City's the best." So Purple City, what it is you go to the legislative building in Winnipeg, which you cannot get onto the grounds anymore.
Yeah, you can. You can get back on now.
There's still security there.
I think it's open again now.
Last time I drove by, which was like last week, there was still security there.
Oh, weird.
So you literally cannot get onto the grounds.
I've been trying to get Wob Canoe on the podcast. I'd like to discuss that.
I used to
with him.
work with Wob Canoe. Like Wob Canoe was a journalist at CBC, and I was a journalist at Global, and we would show up to the same scenes.
There's so many squirrels during this episode.
So that I may talk. Squirrel!
Yeah, so this is
Purple
how my
City.
brain works. It's going in a million different directions, and I leave on a plane tomorrow to Toronto for the weekend, and I haven't even like thought about it or packed my bags. And I just tried checking into the flight, and it won't let me because on Flair you have to like. I'm traveling with a personal item and not a carry-on, so therefore I cannot check in.
Yeah.
Does this make any sense?
Yeah. So Purple City.
Oh, right. So Purple City is you go to the ledge, and you know those lights that like face the building to like illuminate
Yeah,
the
like
building.
the yellowish lights.
So you're supposed to like stare at them for like
Which is not good for your eyes.
15 to 30 seconds. So you just stare at these lights, and then you run to the top of the stairs, and you look out onto the city,
And it's purple.
and everything's purple.
That's because
and
your
it's just
eyes
pretty.
are your eyes
Yeah.
are getting killed.
Yeah,
at that
and then you
moment.
pretty much go blind after that, but that's fine. So
That's what you did to me on my first date.
yeah. If it didn't work out, not my
Yeah.
problem.
Well,
I already had glasses at that point, so I just thought I'd just increase the prescription, if anything.
Yeah.
So, what else do you want to talk about?
So I figured out a new segment that I want to do, and the segment I haven't even done this with Tim yet,
Ooh.
and I've got a question for Chat GPT, and I want you to have a question for Chat GPT,
Oh my god.
and I
ask me
want to
something?
know what Chat GPT says is
say.
the answer.
Oh.
So what I want you to do while I'm reading my question, and I'll go through the answer and we'll discuss it a little bit. Or do you want to go
I think
with
we should talk about how scary AI is. Okay? Did you see that video of that robot attacking people? It was like it was at a concert in a crowd, and this robot was like walking like near security and like lunged at people. Did you see that?
No, but I saw the Donald Trump
You're
AI
gonna find
video.
the video and just put it up.
Video from a festival in China shows an AI-powered humanoid robot malfunctioning and attempting to strike.
Isn't that what Tim does? Greg will find the video. Okay, play the video, Greg. No, but I'm serious. We should
But
talk.
I've seen the Trump video where he made an AI video of Trump Gaza.
Oh my gosh. Okay, like that was the most inappropriate thing I've ever seen Trump do. And he's done a lot of inappropriate things. And believe it or not, I don't mind Trump. Like I feel like a lot of what he's trying to do is make things better. But he doesn't have the most tact.
His filter is missing.
The filter, and like whoever is controlling his social media, which I bet nobody is, because he probably wants full control of
But
that.
somebody's
How
made
does-
this AI video for him.
Well,
though.
I honestly feel like there's somebody on the internet that made this AI video and sent it to him, and he's like, "Whoa, that's the coolest thing ever! I'm gonna post it." And he, in his mind, thinking this is funny. It's a video. Greg will play it because that's what Greg does in post edit, right? You'll put it up.
Yeah.
There's like children, these poor children. It shows these children in rubble running towards this like majestic paradise city that Trump envisions Gaza to be.
hmm
Meanwhile, Gaza right now is full of 2 million people, some of them innocent, some of them not so innocent, that have died
Yeah.
because of what
The
happened.
war and everything going on.
And yeah, I just felt like it was like not tasteful at all, and probably his worst just like move to date. But like, yeah, AI, like I also heard there was a clip going around of Donald Trump Jr. talking about how US supports Russia and how Russia is right on what they did in Ukraine. It's a fake audio video, or a fake audio of Donald Trump Jr. saying this. Like that's how dangerous AI is. And like imagine what when our kids are our age, what their life will be
Yeah.
if AI continues.
What is one question that you would want to know the answer to from AI?
I have no idea.
None at all?
Hmm.
Okay, so I saw this question asked online today, so I thought I would ask it just to see what it says to me.
Sure.
So the question was, you have to choose one religion. Which one is the highest probability based on knowledge? Give me the short answer. So that's what
Okay.
I asked it. And it said there's no definitive answer, but based on historical influence, philosophical depth, and global adherence, Christianity and Islam are the most probable contenders. If
Hmm.
evaluating purely on philosophical reasoning, some form of theism, example classic monotheism, has strong arguments. And I said to AI, which would you choose? Because, AI is like human now, right? And
Yeah, you
AI
got to be
goes,
nice to it too.
I don't have personal beliefs, but if choosing based on its historical influence, philosophical reasoning, and global impact, Christianity, particular in its
Woohoo!
philosophical and moral framework, has the strong credibility. It has
Hmm.
deeply influenced Western thought, science,
Well,
law,
yeah.
and human rights, while also addressing deep existential questions
Like the Western world is built
on
off
Christianity.
of Christianity and the Bible, and we have gone so like far away from it. Um, for so many reasons, I think we're literally trying to like get rid of it in a lot of aspects. And it seems like we're almost like fighting to keep it, which is so strange. But anyway, yeah, that was an interesting question.
Yeah,
That
so the
that would
reason
have
why I
crossed
wanted
my
to
mind to
ask it
ask.
was because a lot of times ChatGPT will take the most um factual information from the internet, and you have to fact check it sometimes as well.
Yes, yes,
But
you
it
do.
takes factual stuff from the entire internet and bases its opinion based on
Yeah.
facts. The scary part is when you ask it, why should you vote for Donald Trump? It says, I cannot give you political views. And then you say, why should I vote for Kamala Harris? And it says, you should
Right.
vote for Kamala
Does
Harris
it
because of
still
blah,
do
blah,
that
blah,
or
blah,
did it
blah.
change?
I don't know if it's changed at all yet, but I know that it was doing that during the
Yeah.
election. Um,
But I think and I think that's kind of something good that Donald Trump is doing is he's opening everybody's eyes to the censorship that was happening. Like you guys don't talk about the thing we don't talk about, right?
yep.
Because you're worried the podcast is going to get censored. And so that's a very real reality. Like the where I work currently, I work at the Miracle Channel, which is a Christian television station in Canada, and I work on producing podcast shows. And yeah, we all have to be very careful on like what we put onto YouTube. Any mention whatsoever of the thing we don't talk about and uh get censored heavily. Now this won't because I'm not saying anything about. I'm just saying the word. So you're fine. Don't worry about it.
Can you say it like Donald Trump says it?
China,
China.
China.
Huge.
Yeah. So anyway, I gotta sneeze. Oh, this is also another thing people don't know about me. I have the loudest sneezes, and they feel so good.
And you're allergic to dogs.
Yeah, and he's sitting. Right
He's sitting
there.
right below you.
Well,
Um,
okay. So that's the other thing. So you were like, "Oh, Lorraine, imagine like if we just had a puppy, it would cuddle with me, and I would love it so much." And blah blah blah. And I was like, "Greg, we can't get a dog. Like I'm allergic to dogs. We can't get a dog."
yep.
Oh no, hyperallergenic dogs. You won't be allergic to a hyperallergenic dog. Okay.
Hypoallergenic, yep.
Okay, fine, honey.
Not hyper.
And so every Kijiji ad you replied to, dogs were gone. Like dogs were just flying off the shelves. And so you finally
Flying off the shelves like toilet paper.
one of your friends just had a puppy and you're like, "Hey, where'd you get the puppy from?" And so they recommended this breeder. And you're like, "Can we just go look?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure. We're just gonna go look."
Yep.
Yeah, no, we left with pretty much getting a dog.
Yeah, we put the deposit down.
And I was like, did that just happen? Like, are we actually getting a dog? But it was allergenic.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm good. Um, a year later, which is interesting how it took a year, I literally broke out in eczema. And I'm like, what is going on? And I go to the doctor. And he's like, oh, you've got eczema. Well, there's something in your environment you're allergic to. And I'm like, well, what could it be? And I'm naming all the things I'm allergic to. animals. And he's like, well, do you have any pets? I'm like, yeah, I have a dog, but he's hypoallergenic. And he's like, there's no such thing. And I'm like, what do you mean? There's no such thing as a hypoallergenic dog. He's like, I cannot say the word. I don't know what's wrong with me.
Yeah.
He says, there's no such thing as a hypoallergenic dog. He's like, all dogs, if you're allergic to one, you're allergic to them all. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I am committed to this puppy for the next 15 plus years, and I'm still allergic
And
to
he's the
him.
world's best dog.
Well, he's kind of,
My best friend.
yeah. So Kingston has anxiety. And he likes to bark, which like every dog does, but he likes to
I
aggressively
don't
bark.
like to label him as having anxiety.
Well, you know
He
what?
gets
I'm going to
anxious.
label him because it's annoying. Ugh.
He gets anxious, and that's why he's in the room right now, because
Like,
if he wasn't, he'd be
there's-
crying for you.
Yeah, there's been
He cries for you. He doesn't care about me.
which is funny because I can't pet him. I can't cuddle him. I can't, bring him to my nose and just like cuddle him. I can't because I'll like have a sneezing fit and my
Which
eyes will
is
start
sad.
running. And yeah, it sucks. But
So it
I'm
brings
doing
me to my f-
acupuncture and stuff. So hopefully that'll help.
Brings me to my first question to the audience. How far would you go for your spouse? You've gone so far to get something that makes your life miserable to make me happy. So how far would you go for your
Put
spouse?
it in the comments.
Put it in the comments, like, share, subscribe, chat with us, all those kinds of things. But I honestly, like, I'm super grateful for the dog, but I'm more so grateful for you sitting on the couch watching The Last Dance with me, which was
That was the movie we were watching.
it was a documentary.
How on earth do you
was a
remember
documentary, the
Oh my
Michael
gosh.
Jordan documentary during the moments that we don't speak of, sitting
that?
in the downstairs basement watching that on TV, and me saying, I think we should get a dog.
And I'm like, nope.
And then we did.
Yeah. And then 5 years later, here he is.
And here he is laying on the floor by my feet, being an awesome dog.
See, and this is, what we do in marriages is you compromise and you make sacrifices and you get a dog.
The other thing is I've realized that when I ask for things or ask to do things and you say no, I'll never do them. But as soon as you
Do I ever
say
say no?
yes, but whenever I say something and I'm like, hey, can I just go and like test drive that car?
What did I say?
You
What
said,
did I say?
we can go and look.
Yeah, last
can
time I
go
said
and
that
look.
we got a dog. So
Yeah.
we're
and
just gonna go look.
4 months later, I said, hey, there's a Camaro at the dealership. Can we go just take a look at it? Maybe take it for a test drive? Put the roof down.
So if you don't know, Greg has a midlife crisis.
Had. It's
Had.
over.
Oh, no, you're still having it. It's still on because that Camaro is still in our lives. No, I don't think you had a midlife crisis. You were turning 40 and you were like, oh, I've always wanted a Camaro, but it's never been practical to spend that kind of money on a sports car that I'm only going to drive for 5 months out of the year, maybe. You've been very practical. We need to buy our kids diapers and Nikes. You know what I mean? But then on your 40th birthday, I wrote in your card. I said, Craig, let's go look. Do you remember that?
No.
You don't remember that?
No.
Shut the front door. I wrote in your birthday card and I said, okay, honey, it's time. Let's go look. And you looked at me and you're like, are you serious? Because yes, that was a point I would always say, no. You always wanted a Camaro. And I said, no, not practical. Like we have babies in car seats. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then on your 40th birthday, I gave you a card for your birthday and something else. I can't remember what. And
Slap on the butt.
probably. And I said, honey, it's time. Let's go look.
But
And
here's
you
the
were
funny thing.
shocked that I had said yes.
But
And I
he-
was too.
But here's the funny thing. We went to go and look at cars, and for me, it was more so I just wanted to go and look. I wanted to drive one. I wanted to like have the convertible and like feel what it would feel like to have one. I wasn't sold on buying it,
What?
but when I put you in the car and we were driving it around, you were like, "Oh,
yeah.
this is pretty sweet." And you were pretty pumped about it the whole time. And that just made me feel like, "Oh, if I do get it, I'm not
Not
going
only do I
to
have a
hurt
sweet
her."
car, but I have a sweet babe in the car. Right? Is that what you're
That's
thinking?
what I thought. Yeah. But I also thought, it's awesome that Lorraine wants it.
Meanwhile, our kids were like 4 and 6, not even. Were they?
5 years ago, they would
And
have
they were just
been.
crunched up in the back seat because it was like so squishy back there. We're like, kids, you're fine, right?
Yes, that's what we said.
Yeah.
Kids, you're fine.
And now they're even more crunched in the back seat. We're like, kids, you're fine.
Cruz is better now because his feet actually go to the ground,
Oh,
so he
yeah,
can put
that's
them underneath
right.
the seat. Eden might be better this summer too,
So, are you thinking of selling him?
but I don't want to talk about that.
You don't want to talk about it? I know. And I'm not saying you have to. I'm just saying it's something to think about.
Yeah,
Because, it's not, I think, that moment is maybe over. Maybe not. Anyway, we should talk about
who's the host of this show?
Well, sorry, this is what I do. I'm usually the one asking the questions.
Yeah,
in my life, in my line of work.
yeah. I usually have coffee with my co-host, but you don't drink coffee.
I don't drink coffee.
Lorraine doesn't drink coffee, which Tim says
According
means
to Tim, I'm going to hell.
because you don't drink coffee. Put it in the chat. Do you agree with Tim or do you agree with Lorraine by not drinking coffee?
I don't understand why people drink coffee. Like, it's gross. Like, it literally tastes gross.
Every single person in my office drinks coffee.
I don't care. It makes no sense. Just because everybody does it, are we supposed to do it? This is mango turmeric. Mango. Do you like mangoes?
I don't know.
Yes, it's a fruit that we eat. It tastes good, so we drink it. Coffee, what is it?
You said you had another topic?
Oh yeah, we should talk about. I did make a list.
Yeah, of course you did.
Oh, we were going to talk about our top date spots.
But of course you made a list.
I like lists.
Everything is a list. I'm surprised that this podcast even goes on without you making a list for me for the podcast.
I think you should
on all the podcasts.
I think you should be thankful I'm not part of your podcast normally. Otherwise, I would probably have kicked you off the podcast.
You've kicked me off the podcast.
It'd be the Lorraine and Tim podcast.
Tim would hate that.
I don't know. I think if
Tim
and I did an episode together,
he wants to be the person
that would be hilarious.
He wants to be first in the name.
Well,
so if it was Lorraine and Tim podcast, he'd be mad.
Oh, sorry. It can be the Tim and Lorraine podcast. I don't really care. I don't need the.
One person actually commented saying to me, so, like, it's the Greg and Tim show, and we've talked about this in the past. The reason it's the Greg and Tim show is because, like, I came up with the idea, and I'm doing all the editing and everything like that, and I made the logo, so, like, we can't...
you carry this show.
I don't. Tim's great in the show.
Tim painted this wall.
Tim painted all the walls in here, but because, like, when we started doing this, I called it the Greg and Tim show because
I'm kidding. Greg does not carry the show at all.
And with the when we did it as Instagram story show, I just made it the Greg and Tim show because I was the one making it. And then I made the logo for this and all that kind of stuff. Somebody actually commented like a month ago saying it would flow much better if it was the Tim and Greg show.
Oh, interesting. The Tim and Greg show. The Greg and Tim show. I'm so used to hearing the Greg and Tim show. The Tim and Greg show. Really, both sound great. So if you want to just flip-flop.
They're both single syllable names.
Yeah, both would work.
Yeah.
But you're right. You do a ton of work. It's not just you don't just come in, record, and leave. You come in, record, set up studio, take down studio, edit. And the editing does take a lot of time.
Yeah, that's why I don't want this episode.
It does take a lot of time away from... I wouldn't say a lot of time. Like now, what takes you 2 hours, maybe 3 to edit.
So I've always said it this way: it takes time to make the show. So yes, we're gonna interview somebody, and yes, I'm gonna edit and produce everything for this. But I look at it from the point of view, like I'm not playing hockey twice a week or 3 times a week, which some people that play hockey are gone from home for like 3 hours, like. They get to hockey an hour before hockey, and they stay at the rink an hour after hockey, and they're playing hockey for an hour. You know, I don't have a lot of other hobbies. This
Hey.
is my hobby.
We should talk about what are you going to do when I'm gone for the next 3 days? How
Am I going to
will
survive?
you survive
Well,
without me?
tomorrow, so we're recording this the day before Lorraine leaves. I'm going to a concert tomorrow night with Brandon.
Which, like, okay, go ahead.
So I have a babysitter for the kids. So
Okay,
first night
men,
away.
I need to hear from you in the chat. When your wife goes away, do you find things to do and find babysitters so that you can also get away? You know, the wife's away, I should get
Well,
away
here's
too?
the thing. No, like, let's
Or
not.
do you cancel all your plans
Okay,
and take care of your children?
so I didn't plan to go to the concert. Brandon asked me if I
Mhm.
want to go to the concert because he got these tickets from work. And I said only
Fair.
if I can get a babysit, only if Allie can babysit. If Allie can't babysit, I'm not going.
Or you can't go.
Well, I could find another
All our
babysitter.
babysitters are in Florida.
I could find another babysitter, but anyway,
What I mean by that is both of our parents are in Florida
yeah.
for the winter.
So the second day on Saturday, I gotta look at my calendar. I'm sure it tells me everything I need to know.
Yeah, so all you have
I
this
got
weekend is
Cruises
hockey.
Eden's
Hockey and ringette.
ringette. So I got Eden's ringette on Saturday, then Cruises hockey later on Saturday. And then on Sunday, I have Cruises hockey at very early in the morning, Eden's ringette within an hour after Cruises hockey, and then
Yeah, you're gonna have to be at two places
and then
at
we
once,
got
so
church.
good luck with that.
We got church at noon, 12:30, and then the afternoon I believe is pretty much free right now, if
On
I remember
Sunday?
correctly. So I've been trying to memorize my schedule, but it is busy for the next few days for me, and it's mostly because like I'm
Yeah.
a busy person to begin with. Plus, you're not going to be here.
Yeah. Yeah. And
So-
I
and I'll
don't
survive.
I don't go away very often. This is pretty
Yeah,
rare.
it's like once a month, I think.
Stop. Where do I go once a month? Baking at church? No, like I'm going on. Me and a friend are going to a concert this weekend. We're going to Elevation Worship in Toronto. That will be over by the time this airs. Here's a video.
No, I'm not putting up more videos. This will be edited before
Tim,
that
you'll be
video
proud
goes
of me. No, okay, so let's talk about the things that I wanted to talk about.
What? There's more?
We were going to talk about yes, marriage and
Talking with your hands.
the 5 challenges that no one talks about in marriages. Did you know that marriage is on the decline in Canada?
Like
Why do you
people
think that
aren't
is?
getting married?
People aren't getting married. And I think that's a societal shift because people are like, what's the point? If I can just like move in with somebody or sleep with someone, why put a ring on it? Why have that commitment when divorce can happen and they can take half my stuff? Right?
You can take half your stuff if you're not married too.
Right. Like, yeah, common law or whatever. But yeah, like marriage is on the decline. And I think that's really, it does not bode well for society when marriage is on the decline because marriage calms men down. And when you can calm men down and they take responsibility for their lives, their families' lives, their children's lives, they become stronger men than when they're not married. Does that make sense to you?
Mm-hmm.
So, no, I just wanted to talk about like you and I have always prioritized going on dates ever since we got married. And our dates have evolved over time. It used to be that every week we'd be going to a Jets game. We gave up our Jets season tickets last year. So
That's
we've had
mostly due to hockey schedule, ringette schedule.
Yeah.
Like, the schedules for the kids have taken over our time.
Yeah. But we've had to be like now we've had to be very intentional about date nights and like planning something ahead of time. Otherwise, like months and months and months can go by. But I think a majority of people don't date anymore when they're married. Would you agree with that? They just coexist.
I don't really ask anybody anymore. I know
You don't
I
ask your
know.
friends if they're dating still?
Like I know that my friends I know that Tim goes on dates a lot with Tammy.
Yeah.
that they make it a point. But I only know that because I talk to him every week.
Yeah, I think
So
sometimes you talk to him more than me,
I
actually.
honestly think that okay. I honestly think that a lot of our friends still go on dates, but not as much. And we don't go on them as much either because we're more intentional with them. Like we went to a hockey game on Monday.
We went
Um,
to a comedy show last month.
we went to a comedy show last month, which like that was something I made sure that we could do. We generally, me and you will go on more dates in the summer when our parents are around
Yeah, like getting sitters is definitely tricky.
and expensive.
Yeah.
So I think that might be one of the reasons. Also, the fact that you could do everything in your home now
Yeah,
compared to
COVID
when,
really changed that, eh?
well, compared
But
to,
remember
it's not
during
COVID that
COVID,
changed it.
we couldn't go out, but we would order, like we'd put the kids to bed, we'd order sushi, and we'd come downstairs and we'd watch a
Watch,
movie, and
yep,
that was like our date night,
was
right? We're like
amazing.
we still we still did our date nights. For those that don't know, I'm an extrovert, in case you couldn't figure that out, and Greg's an introvert, which
Sort
is
of, yeah.
like I didn't know that you were an introvert when I met you. I thought you were for sure an extrovert because you're so social and you're like you don't get overwhelmed when you have to like talk to new people or meet new people. But but like meeting new people and being out and talking to people is exhausting for you.
Hmm.
And for me that gives me energy.
Like this podcast.
I know you're going to be like, "Oh my gosh, I need a nap, Lorraine. That was way too much talking." And I'll be like, "Let's go. Where's the next party?" It'll be my
Yeah.
bed because it's bedtime.
But yeah, it is something that I think people need to do more. But I think that the same reason
Why do
why,
people need to do it, do you think?
because when you get outside of your comfort zone, I even said this, and this might not be fully agreed upon by everybody, but
You saying something controversial?
I honestly think that you should go on a trip with somebody prior to moving in with them
Prior to marrying them, you mean?
and moving in with them.
Marriage comes first.
I know. I'm saying though, I
In
honestly
our
think that you have to go on a trip with each other. I'm saying that in order to understand people's idiosyncrasies
yeah.
and the way they do things and their annoyances and the different things that they do, you see the best of somebody when you go on dates with them when you're dating for the first time.
Yeah.
You see the best of that person. That person's wearing their best clothing. They've worn their best makeup if it's a female. They've done their best hair if it's a guy.
Yeah.
They've worn their best hat if it's me.
Mm-hmm.
So they've done these things to present themselves as their best selves.
Right.
What
So
happens when
during
people
travel, you're saying people let their guard down.
what happens when people get married is now you're going to the bathroom in front of each other. You're waking up and seeing each other very differently, right? You're smelling different things that didn't smell before.
Yeah, that's true.
And you're experiencing that person. And yeah, like let's say we separate the beds in the room and you're doing two single beds. Fine. But you're waking up and seeing that person for the first time.
And yeah, I was gonna say something, but I won't.
Yeah. I know what you want to go into with that, and I understand the thought process around that.
Yeah.
But my thought process around it is even like, if our kids have a girlfriend or a boyfriend, right? And they need to stay over for the evening. Yes, they're staying in separate rooms and that type of thing. But when they wake up in the morning and see each other in the morning, it's different
It's a
than when you
different
pick
vibe,
somebody up
yeah.
at 5 o'clock at night after work
I get
and you're
that.
ready to go out,
Yeah.
right? But now this is the whole circle that I'm going on here right now is the reason why dating is so important is because I need to see the best of you again. I can't just see the person that wakes up in the morning that, you know, does
Yeah.
things to get ready or, is upset because the dog is in the way. Like, I can't just see that person.
I don't do
You
that, right?
No, but like me, if I do that.
Oh,
But you need to see the best of somebody, right?
yeah,
So you lose the best of people. Once you get married, you get so comfortable and you walk around in your
yes,
sweatpants and your baggy sweaters and
yeah,
your baggy whatever, and you don't do anything for your partner anymore.
right.
When you go on that date, and you have to say, like, every time we go on a date, we make sure that we're going out. Like, I'll be like, hey, is this shirt okay for this? Are these pants okay for this? And I'll make sure that I'm wearing a clean hat, clean shoes. Like, I will want to present the best of me when I'm out with you,
Right.
because when we go out, I want us to present ourselves the way, the best of us. And I'm not saying like to show a fake side of yourself. I'm saying to show the best side of yourself.
Right.
So I think there's twofold there.
Okay.
Those are my answers.
Got it. Okay. The other thing in marriage is, do you think we should be sharing chores?
Sharing chores or splitting up chores?
Both. Does it matter?
Yeah, they're two different things. Sharing chores means that both me and you do the laundry. Both me and you cut the grass. Both me and you take the dog for a walk. Both me and you make the lunches. When in reality, yeah, you make the lunches. Yeah, every morning, even when it's -40, I take the dog for a
Yeah,
walk.
you do. You want the dog, you take him for a walk.
Yeah, you want the kids, you make them breakfast.
We wanted kids. Hello. Just like we broke the patio door.
You
Okay?
broke the patio door. Um,
Pretty sure we
sharing
did.
sharing chores is different than splitting chores. And I think there's certain chores, and you can hate me for saying this,
I will
that
never hate you.
are for men,
Hmm.
and there's
I know,
certain
you're always
chores that
like,
are built for women.
I love how you're like, oh, I mow the grass. And I'm like, honey, I can mow the grass too. You're like, yeah, but I mow the grass. I'm like, yeah, well,
Because I do it better.
oh, well, I don't know
That's
about
like you. That's like me
that.
saying I can fold the laundry.
I,
I could
oh,
fold the laundry,
you could fold the laundry. And you know what? You should.
but I
So Greg
do.
doesn't fold laundry, but he does the laundry. Like he'll take it
Hmm.
downstairs, he'll put it in the washer, put it in the dryer, and then put it in the laundry basket. And which is most of
Well, it's not half the work. It's probably 35% of the work,
okay, let's go with
and then
that.
folding it is the detriment of everything. But I could fold the laundry, but I don't do it as good as you.
So
Just like
let
you
us
could
know
cut the
in the chat, does
grass.
your husband fold laundry?
Just like you could cut the grass, but
Let
you
us
don't do
know
it
in
as
the
well
chat,
as
does
me.
your wife cut the grass? Anyway, so splitting chores, very important. I don't think that there's man chores and I don't think that there's women chores. I feel like both partners should do the chores. I think what
But I'm
gets
not saying
me,
it that way. Like there's man chores and women
no,
chores.
no, I get
But
what you're saying.
there's a chore for there's chores for the husband. There's chores for the wife. If you're really good at folding and you're a man, that's fine.
Yeah.
Maybe your wife really sucks at folding. Maybe she's a sucky folder, and you're a crappy lawn cutter, and your wife cuts lawns better than you. That's fine. But I'm just saying that it doesn't have to be even.
I agree. Um, I
And
agree.
I've stumped you.
Well, no, I was gonna say.
You were gonna try to disagree with me on something, and you're like, "Wait, no, Greg's
Wait, how
making
can I tell him
sense.
that he's
Greg's making
wrong?
sense right now. For the first time ever, he's given his opinion, and she's accepted it."
I was gonna say, you like to do chores or do things around the house, but you often want me to notice, and I'm a really bad noticer of things. You'll get a haircut, and I won't notice. You won't
my
wear a
love
hat.
language is words of affirmation,
Yes, and like, I think I suck at that because that's not my love language.
and yours is acts of service.
Like
But
if
you don't notice when I do the service.
That's the thing, right? Mind you, I did notice the other day when you cleaned up the kitchen.
Okay.
And you didn't tell me. I said, "Oh, thanks for cleaning the kitchen." And remember, you're like, "Oh, thanks." And like I was like impressed with myself that I actually
Noticed something.
noticed that you'd cleaned the kitchen. But like, yeah, like it's funny how my love language is acts of service, but I almost always think about the things that you don't do rather than things that you do.
Mm-hmm.
Do. And I think that's definitely like like something I'm working on, and a downfall of mine is
Yeah.
like trying to notice the good before I notice the bad. You
Yeah.
know, sometimes I can come home after like running the kids around or whatever and being at work all day and knowing that I have an assignment due and just like overwhelmed and stressed. And sometimes it's the easiest thing to just be like, oh, honey, your shoes, you left them out. Meanwhile, you've like cleaned the house. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's so easy to find like those little things. Anyway, let's move on to the next topic.
Well,
We're gonna hurry it along because this podcast
no,
is
we
getting
don't
too
need
long.
to go into every topic.
No, we don't have to. But I wanted to talk about some parenting challenges that parents face when it comes to mostly how do you parent children that are going through peer pressure. And this starts at a very young age. Our daughter's in grade 3, and I found, I don't know if this is peer pressure or just like relationship problems. You know what I mean? Like, just like, especially with girls, like
Are
just,
they making fun of her talking with her hands?
okay, I'll sit on my hands.
No, I don't want you to sit on your hand. But sometimes the words that are coming out of your mouth
Like,
are not as loud as the hand gestures.
I know. Tim does this too, though, doesn't he?
Oh, he does this.
Not as much?
He does this a lot
Oh,
with
okay.
the hand. Like he wants to hold
the biggest thing
hands.
that I've found, and like we had crews, no relationship issues that we heard of. Like
He's a
he was
boy.
just really good at like whatever.
He doesn't give a.
You get a girl in your life, and it's like so and so was mean to me, or so and so wasn't nice. Or by the way, Eden wanted me to give a shout out to her, and she wants you to put up her picture. Eden, there's your shout out. But like there are like
Just kidding.
there are challenges when it comes to raising little girls. And I don't think it's something that people talk about enough because it's something that I'm trying to navigate and it's hard. You like just want to get mama bear on some of these girls that are being mean to your kid, you know, and you just have to like take a step back and be like, okay, and then talk it through with your kid.
And for me, I don't know what it was like to be a little girl. So I
Right.
don't
And
know.
honestly, I don't remember the mean girl stuff happening in grade 1. Do you know what I mean?
But she's in grade 3.
Yes, but it started in grade 1, which is insane to me. Right? And it continues grade 2, grade 3. Like it and does it get worse? And maybe. But like, yeah, it's pretty wild how, and I don't know if it's like, are girls nowadays growing up less confident than they've ever been because of what they're seeing on YouTube, whatever the videos they're watching, or I'm assuming they're not on social media yet, but like the stuff they're seeing on YouTube, you know, these little girls
Or even just on
doing
shows.
makeup and all this stuff and beautiful singing voices, and then they go to school and they don't have that or whatever. And I don't know, like I just feel like if I could have some advice,
In the
either a
comments.
book or something, if somebody knows a really good book to read or a podcast to listen to that talks about how to raise like little girls and to navigate the challenges of little girl relationships, like the biggest thing we're doing with Eden is just like, you know, build their confidence, you know, teach her like where her identity comes from, where her worth comes from. And that's all you can like really do. And then the rest you have to say, you know what?
She's
Just let it go. Don't worry about it.
She's a pretty confident kid.
Yeah.
Even if she is feeling like sometimes some people are bugging her or some things aren't going her way, she's a pretty confident kid. She's so confident that she sometimes says some things to me that I'm like, who is this child? And
She's pretty funny.
I am not extremely worried about her. But I know where you're coming
I'm
from.
not either.
You
It's
just want some advice. And so if
just
you
trying
do
to
have
navigate
advice,
it.
put in
Yeah.
the comments below. We would love to hear it. But I'm gonna wrap up the show here because, you know, it's been a little
We could
bit
go for a
and
long
we could go
time.
forever. And this is basically me and Lorraine will generally have these kind of conversations sitting in our backyard. Recently, we got a hot tub, and
Oh, yes.
we sit in the hot tub.
What do we call
and
it?
Hot Tub
Hot
Confessionals.
Tub Confessionals.
And the main reason is, and the reason why this works so well, even though Lorraine has her phone on her there, is because there's no distractions in the room while we're talking. And I really think that if I can give one piece of advice that to anybody that's living and listening, if they're listening without
play
living,
there.
I'd be very surprised. Anyway, if I could give people one piece of advice is find a space where there's no television, where there's no phones, where there's no distractions, and that's where you want to have a conversation.
Yeah.
Me and Tim have great conversations with each other. I get Tim to put his phone on silent, and he turns his watch off, and he puts it off to the side. I don't have anything on me that's connected or anything like that either, and it gives us better connection for
Yeah.
conversation. So if you can figure out a way to do that, if you don't have a hot tub,
Just get a hot tub.
yeah, get a hot tub. If you don't have a hot tub,
I guess the hot tub purchase was kind of like my midlife crisis. Would you say?
yeah, that's right. It was.
'Cause-
Man, we made a lot of purchases during the time we don't speak of. But it's honestly the reason the hot tub's so good is because you can't really have electronics in it. So there's no distractions. So we have these kind of conversations
and we go
like
in
we're doing
it.
today.
We go in the hot tub practically every night.
Yeah,
When it's not -40.
yeah.
So like every
just-
night before bed, we kind of like debrief our day.
So one piece of advice, always talk to your spouse, but do it without electronics. Because even though like we got the hockey game on and we're talking, we're still distracted.
Hmm.
And our phones are in our hands all the time and those kinds of things. So
yeah.
that's one piece of advice. If you are looking for something to gain from this episode, is the reason why we can talk like this right now is because there's nothing in here that's distracting us.
Yeah.
Not even the dog. He's half asleep on the floor here, right, Kingston? So anyways, thanks for watching the Greg and Lorraine
How did
show.
I do?
The Greg and Lorraine show. Well, I'll grade
will
you
you
after I
let me
edit
come
it.
back?
I'll grade you after I edit it.
What? Tim, how did I do? Let me know.
Don't forget to
Write it in the comments.
don't forget to interrupt Greg all the time.
Hey, you do that to Tim all the time.
Like, subscribe, share, all those things. We asked a whole bunch of questions during this episode. So if you have questions or comments, don't forget to put them in below as we were talking here. And thanks for watching. Don't forget to share it with your friends. And we appreciate you. And next week, Tim's back. So, sorry, Lorraine.
All right, fine.
We'll see. We'll see. Maybe
I've
we'll have
been
Lorraine
fired.
back. If we get
Tammy. Should we get Tammy on the show?
25 comments on this episode.
Stop.
If we get 25 comments on this episode,
Can they all be from me?
nope. They have to be all from different individuals.
What?
25 different individuals. If we get 25 comments on this episode, I will invite Lorraine back, and maybe we'll possibly try to figure out something where Lorraine can come on the show. On a
Permanently?
on a regular, not permanently.
Oh.
No. So anyways, thanks for watching, and have a great evening or great day or great morning, or what does Jim Carrey say in that movie? Good evening, good night,
I don't know.
good morning, good afternoon.
If it's not a Friends
good
reference,
evening.
I have no idea.
It was Truman Show.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Anyway, bye.
See ya.
In case I don't see ya, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Thanks for watching the Greg and Tim Show podcast. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with all your friends. Sharing is caring.